Welcome to PsychWSigmund, the show where we delve into the fascinating world of psychology and explore the lives and works of influential minds who have shaped our understanding of human behavior. Today, we're going to talk about Kurt Goldstein, a pioneering psychologist whose work on holism, brain plasticity, and the integrated functioning of the brain has had a lasting impact on our field. Kurt Goldstein was born in 1878 in Katowice, Germany, which is now Katowice, Poland. His early life was marked by a strong interest in philosophy, particularly the works of Immanuel Kant, which would later influence his holistic approach to psychology. Goldstein's educational journey took him to the University of Breslau, where he studied medicine and eventually earned his medical degree. However, it was during his time at the University of Heidelberg that he became fascinated with psychology, particularly the works of Wilhelm Wundt, who is often credited as the father of modern psychology. Goldstein's work in psychology began to take shape during World War I, when he worked with soldiers who had suffered brain injuries. This experience led him to develop his theory of holism, which posits that the brain functions as a unified system, and that damage to one area can affect the entire system. He also developed the concept of Allwendung, or the idea that the brain has a tendency to compensate for damaged areas by reorganizing itself. One of Goldstein's most significant contributions to psychology was his work on brain plasticity. He demonstrated that the brain is capable of reorganizing itself in response to injury, and that this process can lead to significant improvements in cognitive function. This idea challenged the traditional view of the brain as a fixed entity and paved the way for later research on neuroplasticity. Goldstein's work was not limited to theoretical contributions. He also developed practical methods for treating patients with brain injuries. His approach emphasized the importance of understanding the patient's individual experiences and needs, and working with them to develop personalized treatment plans. This approach was revolutionary at the time, as it focused on the patient as a whole person, rather than just treating their symptoms. Goldstein's legacy extends far beyond his own work. His ideas about holism and brain plasticity have influenced generations of psychologists, including notable figures such as Viktor Frankl and Carl Rogers. His emphasis on understanding the individual's experiences and needs has also had a lasting impact on the development of humanistic psychology. So, what can we learn from Goldstein's work in our everyday lives? For one thing, his concept of holism reminds us that our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all interconnected, and that changes in one area can have far-reaching effects on our overall well-being. This idea is particularly relevant in the context of mental health, where we often try to isolate individual symptoms or problems without considering the broader system. For instance, consider the example of a person who is experiencing anxiety and depression. From a holistic perspective, it's clear that these conditions are not just isolated problems, but rather symptoms of a larger systemic issue. By addressing the underlying causes of these conditions, such as stress, trauma, or social isolation, we can develop more effective treatments that take into account the complex interplay between cognitive, emotional, and environmental factors. In addition to his theoretical contributions, Goldstein's work also has practical implications for our daily lives. His emphasis on understanding the individual's experiences and needs reminds us of the importance of empathy and compassion in our relationships with others. By taking the time to understand another person's perspective and needs, we can build stronger, more meaningful connections with them. Goldstein's life was not without challenges, however. He faced significant opposition to his ideas, particularly from those who believed that the brain was a fixed entity that could not be changed. Despite these challenges, Goldstein remained committed to his work and continued to develop and refine his theories throughout his career. In conclusion, Kurt Goldstein was a true pioneer in the field of psychology, whose work on holism, brain plasticity, and the integrated functioning of the brain has had a lasting impact on our understanding of human behavior. His ideas remind us that we are complex, dynamic systems, and that changes in one area can have far-reaching effects on our overall well-being. As we reflect on his legacy, let's remember that Goldstein's work was not just about abstract theories or scientific concepts, it was also about the human experience, with all its complexities and mysteries. That's all for today's Psych with Sigmund. If you enjoyed learning about Kurt Goldstein, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.